The ocean is full of secrets. But what if Seabrook's next big challenge doesn't come from the stars or the forests, but from the dark waters beneath the waves? Imagine a new world of creatures who are as beautiful as they are dangerous. Zombies 5 could finally dive deep into the battle that nobody saw coming. Mermaids vs. Sirens, the Zombies series has always been about outsiders stepping into the spotlight. First, we had zombies once feared, now accepted. Then came werewolves with their power and mystery. Next, we met aliens, who tested the town's trust and opened the door to the cosmos. Each movie raised the stakes, each story grew bigger. But if you think the sky was the limit, think again. The sea has been waiting. And in Zombies 5, it might finally rise. Picture Seabrook, calm and shining, where life seems balanced after years of chaos. Addison has embraced who she is. Zed has achieved his dream of proving zombies belong. Werewolves, humans, and aliens have found common ground. For the first time in forever, Seabrook is at peace. But peace never lasts long in this town, does it? Just when it feels like the story is complete, a new mystery begins to bubble up from the depths. Strange tides. Whispers in the night. A haunting melody carried by the wind, reaching even those who dare to stand near the shore. This is where the story could take a daring new turn. What if the ocean near Seabrook isn't just water and waves? What if, hidden beneath the surface, there is another civilization waiting to be discovered? Not from the stars, but from the sea. That is where the mermaids come in. Now, in fairy tales, mermaids are often painted as graceful, kind, and curious. They are symbols of beauty and freedom, swimming in crystal waters. But the Zombies franchise has never settled for simple. These mermaids could be more than just pretty faces with shimmering tails. They might be a whole new community with culture, rules, and powers of their own. Maybe they've stayed hidden for centuries, watching Seabrook from afar, wondering if the surface world is safe enough to reveal themselves. But what if their secret is forced out? What if something drags them into the spotlight, just as it did for zombies, werewolves, and aliens? That's where the conflict begins. Because if the mermaids rise, so do their enemies. And in this world, those enemies are not pirates or humans. They are the Sirens. Before we dive too deep into Sirens, let's stay with the mermaids for a moment. Imagine their first appearance in Zombies 5. Perhaps Addison, standing by the water, hears a song calling her name. Or maybe Zed notices the waves behaving strangely, glowing with an energy that feels alive. Then, from the darkness, a figure rises half human, half fish, glowing with scales that catch the moonlight. A mermaid reaching out for help. Or maybe, for warning, this would connect perfectly to the themes we've seen in every Zombies film: identity, acceptance, and the struggle to live side by side. Mermaids would bring a new twist to this journey. They might not just be looking for a place to belong. They could be carrying a message, a danger that has followed them to Seabrook. And with that, the stage is set not just for new friends, but for a new battle that will test every bond the town has built so far. Mermaids have always been wrapped in mystery. In most stories, they are dreamlike beings who sing songs of wonder, shimmering under the sunlight as their tails flash like jewels. But in Zombies 5, these mermaids cannot just be fairy tale decorations. They must carry weight, purpose, and power that shakes Seabrook to its core. Because in this world, every new group that arrives is more than just a group of magical creatures. They are a reflection of human struggles, identity, and acceptance. So how do mermaids fit into that story? Imagine them not just as pretty swimmers, but as an entire hidden society living just beneath the waves of Seabrook's coastline. They have kingdoms, leaders, traditions, and ancient history tied to the ocean. For centuries, they have stayed away from humans, hidden by the tides, watching carefully but never stepping forward. Why? Because they've seen what the surface world does to outsiders. They remember the battles that zombies fought for respect. They heard the cries of the werewolves when their pack was hunted. They felt the arrival of the aliens, whose energy even disturbed the waves themselves. And so mermaids waited, unseen, unheard, but the ocean does not stay quiet forever. Strange things begin to happen near Seabrook. Waves rise higher, storms seem stronger, and most unsettling of all, people start hearing voices in the water. Addison, always the bridge between worlds, may be the first to sense them. Her unique light, which has always drawn supernatural beings toward her, now attracts the mermaids. Maybe she dreams of the ocean, visions of glowing fins and haunting songs that wake her in the night. Or maybe Zed discovers a piece of mermaid jewelry washed ashore, a sign that another world is closer than anyone believed. When the mermaids finally reveal themselves, their arrival is not dramatic thunder and war cries, it is cautious, almost hesitant. They do not come to conquer. They come to warn. Their leader, perhaps a strong but graceful figure, explains that their world is in danger. They speak of shadows that swim deeper, of a melody that corrupts, of creatures who share their blood but not their heart. These shadows are sirens, and their rise threatens not just the sea, but the land above it. The beauty of the mermaids lies in their duality. On one hand, they embody wonder. They can heal, they can sing songs of peace, and their very presence is mesmerizing. On the other hand, they are not weak. They control the water around them, they move with speed and strength, and they have the courage of those who have survived in hiding for centuries. Unlike the zombies who had to prove themselves, unlike the werewolves who fought for territory, and unlike the aliens who carried secrets, the mermaids come with both wisdom and wounds. They have already endured battles the world above has never seen. Thematically, they bring something new to zombies. If zombies stood for breaking down fear, and werewolves for embracing instincts, and aliens for belonging across worlds, then mermaids could stand for balance. They live between two realms, land and sea, air and water, freedom and danger. They are constantly balancing light with darkness. That's why their arrival carries so much meaning. They are not asking to be accepted. They are asking to be believed. Picture the first major mermaid moment in the film. The town gathers near the water, uncertain whether to trust these strange new beings. Some are dazzled by their beauty, their shimmering scales, their graceful movements. Others are suspicious, remembering how hard it was to trust outsiders before. But when the mermaid leader sings, the water glows, and an image rises from the sea, visions of destruction caused by the sirens. The town sees for the first time that what lies beneath the water could drown them all if ignored. From that point on, mermaids are not just another magical group in Seabrook. They are messengers, warriors, and perhaps the last hope against the shadows rising below. They represent a chance for Seabrook to prove that unity doesn't stop at the shore. It must go deeper. Where there is light, there must always be shadow. If mermaids are the guardians of balance, the sirens are the destroyers of it. In ancient myths, sirens were not gentle dreamers, they were hunters. They lured sailors with voices sweeter than honey, pulling ships into rocks and drowning anyone who dared to listen. In Zombies 5, these sirens would not simply be villains for the sake of evil. They would be predators with purpose, determined to rise above the waves and claim Seabrook for their own. But what makes the sirens different from the mermaids? They are born of the same ocean, but shaped by darker waters. Imagine them dwelling in deep trenches where sunlight never reaches, where pressure and shadows twist everything into something sharper. While mermaids choose peace and unity, sirens thrive on control. Their voices are not just beautiful, they are weapons. A single song from them can bend the strongest mind, turn friend against friend, and make the bravest hero crumble. In the story, their arrival would not be calm or cautious like the mermaids. It would be sudden, eerie, impossible to ignore. Perhaps it begins with strange behavior in Seabrook. People act differently, fighting over small things, losing focus, forgetting themselves. At first, no one understands why. Then, late one night, a haunting chorus drifts over the town, weaving into dreams, leaving chaos in its wake. Only when the mermaids reveal the truth does Seabrook realize the sirens are here. Visually, they would be striking. Not the sparkling, colorful look of mermaids, but darker, sharper designs. Their fins jagged like blades, their eyes glowing in unnatural colors, their movements both graceful and terrifying. They could shift between forms sometimes almost human, sometimes monstrous, always unsettling. Where mermaids bring light to the water, sirens bring storms. Where mermaids heal, sirens corrupt, but what makes them truly dangerous is not their power, it is their goal. The sirens do not simply want to scare Seabrook. They want to rule it. To them, the surface is weak, distracted, vulnerable. Humans fight with each other. Zombies and werewolves still wrestle with trust. Even the aliens, with all their technology, are outsiders struggling to fit in. To the sirens, Seabrook looks like easy prey. And they plan to use their voices to turn its people into puppets. Thematically, the sirens embody fear itself. If zombies represented prejudice, werewolves represented instincts, and aliens represented belonging, then sirens represent manipulation, the darkest part of influence. They are what happens when voices are used not to inspire, but to control. Their songs are not lullabies. They are chains. And that is why they are the perfect enemies. Because Seabrook has always prided itself on finding harmony. But harmony is fragile when a single voice can shatter it. Imagine their first true appearance. The night sky over Seabrook is stormy. Waves crash against the shore. The mermaids stand ready, warning the town. Suddenly, the water begins to glow, not with soft light, but with eerie fire. One by one, figures rise from the waves, their eyes locked on the crowd. Then the singing begins. A chorus that chills the blood, so beautiful it hurts. People in the crowd start stepping forward, entranced, moving toward the sea as if pulled by invisible strings. Addison screams for them to stop, but even she struggles to resist. Only when the mermaids raise their own voices in defiance does the spell break. But it is only a taste of what is coming. This moment would show the stakes clearer than ever. Sirens are not just another group to welcome. They cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be negotiated with. They are not misunderstood, they are predators. And yet their connection to the mermaids makes the conflict even more tragic. Two families, two bloodlines, born of the same ocean, but forever torn apart by their choices. From that moment on, Seabrook is no longer safe. Every sound of the tide could hide a trap. Every voice in the distance could be a siren's call. And every step forward could mean falling under their spell. The battle has shifted, and this time, the town faces not just enemies they can see, but enemies who can live inside their minds. Asterisk, the stage is set. On one side, mermaids guardians of peace, carrying warnings from the sea. On the other, sirens born from the same ocean, but driven by hunger for power and control. And in the middle stands Seabrook, a town that has already seen zombies, werewolves, and aliens fight for their place. But this time, the battle is unlike anything before. Because this time, it is not only about acceptance. It is about survival. Imagine Seabrook at first trying to ignore the problem. They face so many new arrivals, before why should this be different? But the sirens don't wait for an invitation. They spread their influence like a storm. Their songs echo through the streets at night, making students turn against one another, families argue, and friendships break. Even Zed, the unshakable leader of zombies, might find his thoughts clouded by the music, fighting the urge to obey. Addison, however, feels the pull more strongly than anyone. Her connection to supernatural forces has always made her special, but it also makes her vulnerable. Could the sirens see her as their ultimate prize? This is where the heart of the conflict lies. Choice. The mermaids beg Seabrook to unite, to resist the sirens together. But unity is fragile and old wounds return quickly. Humans blame zombies for being too weak. Werewolves accuse aliens of hiding secrets. Trust breaks, and that is exactly what the sirens want. Their greatest weapon is not their voices, it is division. Every fight, every doubt makes their grip stronger, but Seabrook is not a town that gives up easily. Through all the chaos, Zed might lead the zombies to stand as the first line of defense. The werewolves, with their raw strength, might guard the shores. The aliens, with their knowledge, could help amplify the mermaid songs to counter the sirens. And Addison, always the bridge between worlds, might be the only one able to merge all voices into one. A song not of control, but of unity. A harmony strong enough to drown out the siren's call. Visually, this final conflict could be breathtaking. Picture the ocean glowing under the moon, waves crashing as Seabrook gathers at the shore. On one side, the sirens rise, their eyes blazing, their voices weaving a spell that shakes the very earth. On the other, mermaids lift their voices in defiance, shimmering with light as they summon waves of protection. In the center, Addison steps forward, her voice trembling at first, but growing stronger as Zed, the werewolves, and even the humans join in. One by one, the different groups add their voices until the entire town sings as one, a wall of harmony that clashes against the sirens' dark melody. But here's the question fans will be left asking, will that be enough? Because every zombies movie ends with a twist. Maybe defeating the sirens will not be about overpowering them, but about reaching the small spark of humanity still buried inside. Maybe one siren different from the rest begins to doubt. Could there be a siren who longs for peace, the way Addison always longed to belong? Or will the sirens remain unbreakable, forcing Seabrook into its greatest battle yet? Speculation runs wild. Some fans believe Addison's alien heritage could make her the key to resisting. The sirens spell her unique frequency, disrupting their songs. Others imagine Zed proving once again that love is stronger than any curse, breaking free from the sirens' control to protect Addison. And still others wonder if this will not be the end, but the beginning of an even bigger threat, the ocean itself turning against Seabrook if balance is not restored, whatever happens. Zombies 5 with Mermaids versus Sirens would not just be another story of outsiders joining the town. It would be the ultimate test of everything Seabrook has learned so far. Can a community built on acceptance stay strong when temptation and division crash against it like waves in a storm? Or will the Sirens prove that even the strongest bonds can be broken with a single song? And that is where the story leaves us, with questions, with theories, with excitement. Because if this really is the path of Zombies 5, then the franchise is heading for its most epic, emotional, and dangerous chapter yet. The battle will not just be about who wins. It will be about who Seabrook becomes when the final song fades. So the question remains, if it comes down to the ocean's greatest battle, whose side are you on? Team Mermaid or Team Siren?